The introduction to India's foreign policy. Now I would like to discuss that Bandung Conference. In fact, thrice Bandung Conference, original Bandung Conference was in 1955. Then it was held in as a commemorative summit was there in 2005 after 50 years. Now in 60 years there is another Bandung Conference in 2015 also. So coming to this Bandung Conference. Original, the first one was in 1955. Then there was a commemorative 50-year at the end of on 50 years. I mean 2005 there was a commemorative summit, and also on 60 years there was another summit in 2015. So just to have an idea and how we are abandoning Nehruvian policy and Nehru, and our eagerness to what you call rewrite history is clearly visible in some parts of our foreign policy. Unfortunately, it may not be a good sign, but that is how the world is. That is how the present politics is. We have to live with this, because there is no point in rewriting history. We know it very well. We cannot discredit a person like Nehru that easily, but still there is an organized effort going on to ensure that Nehru is not getting any credit for anything he has done. So no matter what the present leadership or any leadership do, what was the situation of 1940s and 50s in which we got independence and then the country was created, and what you can do in present day situation when you already have all infrastructure in place, all structure in place, you have to only improve on that. You can only see a planning commission was there. Now planning commission can be dismantled and call it as Niti Aayog. But the work of Nehru was to create a system. Creating a system is different from modifying a system or finding fault in the system. That is a different thing. Anyway, so this Bandung Conference of 1955 was a great initiative by Nehru. 2015, we have completely abandoned Nehru in this. So that is what I would like to discuss on Bandung Conference and the various aspects of it. So what is Bandung Conference? It was a meeting of Asian and African states. It's an Afro-Asian summit. 29 countries participated in that. I am talking about 1955 right now. 29 countries participated in that. And the initiative was taken, since it was Bandung is in Indonesia, in Java. So naturally Indonesia took a lead. Even countries like Myanmar, the present day Myanmar, at that time a friendly leadership was there, and India was very friendly to Myanmar. In Sri Lanka, India, then even Pakistan, we all took initiative. Even Pakistan was a party to this Bandung Conference and initiative. And finally it was held in April 1955. It was held in April 1955 in Bandung. 29 countries participated, and these 5 sponsors. So Indonesia, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, India and Pakistan were the 5 sponsors of Bandung Conference. And the main concern or the issue which were discussed, the 5 major issues were discussed. Number 1, in the Bandung Conference, number 1, it was regarding the reluctance of the Western powers to consult them regarding the decisions affecting Asia. So they were discussing the reluctance, or they were expressing their dissatisfaction that Western countries are reluctant to talk to them regarding any decision taken on Asia. Reluctance of West in discussing with or consulting the Asian countries on issues affecting Asia. So they were quite dissatisfied with the behavior of the Western countries, that they are taking decisions which are affecting Asia but without consulting these Asian countries. That is number 1. Then they were concerned about the tensions between US and China. The US and China, because Chinese revolution took place in 1949. The Communist Party captured power in China. The Communist Party of China, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, captured power in 1949. But Americans refused to recognize, the Western world refused to recognize the Chinese, the Communist Party rule in China. They continued to recognize the old government, the KMT rule. The US continued to recognize the KMT, Kuomintang, the old rulers, who had ran away to Taiwan and established their rule there. But still, the US continued to recognize KMT rule in mainland China, which is not the truth. And also, a number 3 point. So, one is the second is the tension between US and China. A third aspect which they wanted to discuss, or rather in their forefront, was that they desired to lay a solid foundation for China's peaceful relationship with everyone. So, how to integrate the Communist Party China into the global order? So, there, the third aspect is the desire to lay a foundation, in China's peaceful relationship with everyone. Foundation for China's peaceful relation with everyone. And number 4, their opposition to colonialism, especially the French influence in North Africa. Opposition to colonialism by France. Opposition to colonialism by France in North Africa. And number 5, Indonesia's desire to promote its interests, especially they were having dispute with the Netherlands, the Dutch, over the Western New Guinea, the Irian Jaya, the New Guinea island. See, today it is part of Indonesia, but at that time Netherlands was not willing to give up on that. So, Indonesia's desire to settle the issue with Netherlands. So, all these things were the major focus of the Bandung Conference. And this another issue, the major debate was that when you denounce colonialism by the Western power, should you denounce the Soviet aggression in Central Asia and even in the Eastern Europe? So, finally, it was decided that colonialism in all forms and its manifestations are condemned. Bandung Conference condemned colonialism in all forms, including the expansionist tendency of the Soviet Union. And a 10-point declaration on the promotion of world peace was codified. And in fact, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru played a very crucial role in this. He took the initiative for the Bandung Conference of 1955. In fact, he even invited, or rather he, because of his insistence, the Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai participated in that. Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai participated in this conference because of India's insistence. And in fact, even there was a story about this which said that when we invited him, Zhou Enlai said that I have no mechanism, I have no aircraft to come. India sent our own aircraft, one aircraft to Beijing to fetch Zhou Enlai for the conference at Bandung, it seems. So, that was the kind of interest India has taken. So, definitely the 1955 conference was an initiative by India. India took the lead, absolutely no doubt. In 2005, when 50 years took place, there was a commemorative summit and the 50th anniversary was there, and at that time in the 2005 commemorative summit, we called this as a New Asian African Strategic Partnership. New Asian African Strategic Partnership. New Asian African Strategic Partnership. This is what called in 2005, and they again talked about promotion of political, economic, cultural cooperation and all. Then again in 2015, when the Bandung Conference took place, of the 2015, the 60th year of the Bandung Conference, 60th anniversary, 60th year. Now, Indonesia took the initiative and the President Xi Jinping participated in a big way. Xi Jinping, the Chinese President, participated in a big way, and Prime Minister Modi, because Indian Prime Minister Modi came to power in 2014 and Prime Minister Modi refused to participate. He did not go because he will have to speak something about the former Prime Minister Nehru. So, he very conveniently avoided, and he sent his foreign minister Sushma Swaraj at that time. The Indian government's response was so visible that all the leaders, in fact all the leaders who spoke in the 60th anniversary, they all mentioned about Prime Minister Nehru. In fact, in Bandung, the cutouts where the Indonesian president at that time, the General Sukarno, and the Indian Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister, Indian Prime Minister, our Jawaharlal Nehru's cutouts were there everywhere in the Bandung. Right from airport to the venue, everywhere this was the main attraction. But neither External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj or the Minister of State General V.K. Singh, who participated in the summit, both of them did not even utter the word Nehru. All other leaders spoke about Nehru, and it was clear, it was reflecting very clearly that an effort was there made by Government of India to de-link Prime Minister Nehru from India's past achievement. They wanted to somehow project as if India has created, and whatever we have done despite Nehru or without Nehru. Anyway, that is the mindset, the political mindset. But unfortunately, we have a mindset of rewriting history. Nothing can be done about that. So in 2015, in the summit, we refused to participate. But in contrast, the Chinese President Xi Jinping recognized the role of Zhou Enlai, and he very eloquently praised Zhou Enlai that how he managed to bring in a balance and everything. So it was a direct contrast. So at the end of 60 years in Bandung, in fact in 1955 also we were talking about creating a new Asia-centric world order. But India was in the forefront in 1955. Please remember, in 1955 we were talking about a new Asia-centric world order. New Asia-centric world order. We were talking about that. Nehru was in the forefront, and that was 1955. In 2015 also, we were talking about an Asia-centric world order. The only difference, India is missing. Now it is in the hands of China. The only tragedy is, after 60 years, India was completely out of place. It is not there in the scene, and this role has been taken over by China. The Nehru's vision of India as a torch bearer of Asia has been buried and destroyed. And China has taken over. Xi was everywhere. Xi Jinping was everywhere. He promoted his One Belt, or rather Belt and Road initiative in a big way in that summit. The One Belt, One Road project, or One Belt, One Road, or the Belt and Road initiative which we talked today, he promoted in a big way. He talked about promoting, even giving training to various people from the developing countries in Asia and Africa in various industries. He also, and this was the time when Xi Jinping even announced the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, in 2015. He also announced as a counter, or rather as a balance to the Bretton Woods institutions like World Bank. He even announced the plan and the creation of an Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, which can be an alternative to the World Bank. So China even initiated that. China initiated the Belt and Road Initiative, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. He was all around and talking about giving training to the people, trainees from Asia and Africa, the developing countries in various industries. So it was very clear that China is trying to create a China-centric Asian order, and the rest of the Asian and African countries are by and large in tune with that. Please remember, in the Belt and Road Initiative, most of the Asian and African countries are participating, minus India. India is the biggest critic. India has not joined Belt and Road Initiative. We have serious reservation against Belt and Road Initiative of China. We will be seeing that in India-China relations. But the fact is, 2015 Bandung conference, India lost out. Prime Minister Modi did not even participate. We conceded our ground completely to China only because of our own internal problem, or internal ideological animosity regarding Nehru. and we conceded and we allowed, and now what is going to happen? An Asia-centric world order is emerging, if it is emerging, but in that India may not have any space. It will be a China-led Asia-centric world order. Nehru wanted an India-led Asia-centric world order. It is lost completely. In 2015, it has been very clear that this is going to be an China-centric and China-led Asia-centric world order, quote unquote. So that is what happened in Bandung 1955 and Bandung 2015. See the contrast.